Hi, how are you? Welcome to this space and welcome to this online conference. We are so glad you're here. I'm Devin Vasco. It's nice to meet you. I'm glad you've decided to join my workshop today. I am a homeschool mama of five. We've homeschooled for over 15 years. Um, I began when my son was my oldest. My son was 2. It was an accidental um, homeschool journey. I was only going to homeschool for preschool, and then he was going to go to kindergarten, and I was going to go to work. I had graduated from the university and had 2 littles and thought, that was a little bit too expensive, so I was going to do preschool at home. And that was over 15 years ago. He graduated last year. He actually graduated. It's amazing. And I survived that first baby. That was a learning experience. So anyway, so I have him. He's 18 and graduated. And then I have 4 girls who are Juliana, who's 16, Gabriella, who's 13, Olivia, who's 11, and then I have a surprise baby who is 4 now. She's Elicia. So I have somebody everywhere just about. We've homeschooled over 15 years. And we're still here, and we are so glad you're here, and we hope that you have I consider it pretty successful, and I hope you have a successful journey too. This is a good place to be. So today we're going to talk about becoming a professional home educator. And we're going to talk about what I think that is and how we can apply it to our lives and what God feels about it and why I think it's a good thing. So, okay, what does it mean to be a professional home educator? Webster defines the word professional in several ways, but I decided to narrow it down because, we don't want to stay all day on just this topic, just here. And we're going to talk about today about how it applies to us. So, what is this definition? Let's look at this. Okay, so professional. To be a professional is one that is a professional, one that engages in a pursuit or activity professionally. Now, that could be anything. We could have a hobby that we pursue professionally. It could become our passion, what we're about. When you're professional, you're studying it, you're looking at it, you're learning it. If you quilt, you're going through all the different steps and learning how to quilt, whether it's with a machine or with by hand, which is something I love. If you're a woodworker, you're going through all the steps. If you're a baker, you're buying the right tools. So we're going to talk about applying professionalism to our home educator's journey. So what does this mean to us personally? My definition for a professional home educator is a parent or guardian who desires to pour themselves into their students. It's an added dimension to parenthood. It is a natural, God-given role. This is an important distinction that when we are as parents, we are their first teachers. It is a natural role. We teach that baby. Now, babies have a driving force to learn things, but we hold their arms and show them that they can walk on their feet. We think it's a game, but they're learning everything. We sit there and babble with our babies and show them that there are sounds that have meaning. So being a professional home educator is a dimension of parenthood. It is a natural thing. And we're going to add to that, as parents, we're doing more. We're adding to it. So let's see. Okay. So why should you do this? I mean, you could say, oh, it's natural. Let's just keep going, let's not worry about this. Let's not worry about diving in what it means to be a professional. It matters to us personally that we behave professionally. And I'm not talking just, it matters to us and how the world perceives us. And it matters to how the world perceives our homeschooling community. It's important. It's important that we behave professionally. It's important to our community that we behave professionally. It's important that we do a step above, because we are judged for who we are. We are already doing something outside the norm, and we need to show them that we can be professionals. We're kind of like an anomaly. Most people, they, for the most part, they get up, they send their children off to school, and they feel like this is a milestone. We have chosen to walk a different way, and so we want to present and have our best foot forward. So what does the Bible say about being professional? There's lots and lots of scripture on being a professional. It's important in the Bible. I think it shows that this is something that is desired. So Ecclesiastes says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. This applies to even if you're an accidental homeschooler. Sometimes we get into homeschooling, it was not our first choice. Something happened at school. Our children needed something else. It was not something we just chose because we wanted to. So whatever you find your hand at, you do it with everything in you. I think this is probably one of my favorite for homeschooling. Proverbs says, diligent hands will rule, but laziness ends in forced labor. If we are diligent, and I think this actually ends up with our attitude, if we're having a happy heart and we're moving forward, it's not going to feel like forced labor. We're not going to always need 2 or 3 cups of coffee to get through our morning. It's going to be a joy. The plans of the diligent lead to profit. When we're making a plan to be a professional home educator, it leads to profit. Now, profit, a lot of times we think that's money. That's not necessarily what the Bible is talking about. It can be a good harvest. It can be a happy children who are involved in what you want them to learn. Second Timothy said, do your best to present yourself to God as one approved. That's a good one that people use that a lot of times because with students and our students and saying, study to show yourself approved. We need to go beyond where we are and move beyond where we are. Galatians says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest. So when we're weary and we keep going and we move forward and we're pushing through to be a professional, we will reap a harvest. When we give it to God, move forward, we get a harvest. So that's why I think we need to be professionals. So what is some more of the sources talking about being professional? Professionalism is not the job you do, it's how you do the job. So that's part of my point. We're going to go above. We're still moving toward, applying it. A professional is someone who can do his best work when he doesn't feel like it. There are many mornings as a mama that I don't feel like doing something. There's many times when my 4-year-old, my big kids are kind of in their routine. They get up, they have their list, they get breakfast, they start moving, they, start working on their work. They've moved beyond needing mama for every little thing. But there are days that little 4-year-old does not want to do her morning basket. She would rather go grab an iPad and do the things that her sister likes to do, like Minecraft and Roblox. But mama wants her to do morning basket and study her ABCs and do a little math before she goes and tries to follow what the big sisters are doing, because she's not a teenager yet. So sometimes we have to do things even when we don't feel like it. Okay, this is my favorite. Believe passionately in what you do and never knowingly compromise your standards or values. Act like a true professional, aiming for true excellence. You have to you have to know what you're aiming for. When we're a professional home educator, we need to have a mission statement. That is important. We need to know what our end goal is. Where do we want to go? Otherwise, we're roaming aimlessly. So that is one thing to do, is work on getting a mission statement so that you know why you're doing what you do. For me, I want to raise healthy, happy, well-adjusted adults who love their God. That is my end goal. When I'm having problems, and like when my son, before he graduated, we were knocking heads over geometry and getting ready for the ACT, I had to go back and look at my end goal. My end goal was not for him to accomplish all the algebra that I wanted him to. My goal was for him to be a healthy, happy adult, well-adjusted, who loved his God. And I was succeeding in that. But if I continued my hard-headedness and did not compromise with him and find a way to compromise and work together, then I was going to lose my end goal. And that's what was happening with him, is I was losing my sight on what my ultimate goal was. So we had to find ways to compromise. Now, did that mean he didn't learn his math and do his ACT? No, he did it and he did good. Does that mean he always does what I want him to do as an adult? No. But then I go back to what my end goal was. I have accomplished that. He is a happy, excellent attitude. People speak well of him, and he loves his God. I accomplished my goal. And if you don't have a goal as a professional home educator, then you're going to be swayed by what the little things going on from the day to day. So, how do we apply this to our life? One, work on a mission statement. We're not covering that today here, but it's a very, very handy thing to have. Take it one step at a time. You do not have to have a mission statement today. You don't even, mission statements can change over time. You don't have to know everything today. When I had my son and I first brought him home, I didn't know how to be a mother. I had grown up with a wonderful mother and a wonderful grandmother. I had wonderful examples, but I had not personally done this. I had to learn what to do and how to act and how, I breastfed. I did not know how to do that. I knew no one in my family had ever done that. I knew no people who did that. It was kind of on the, before social media, so I couldn't go find a group somewhere online to ask questions. I didn't know that there was a group on the other side of the city. And so I had a book and I had a baby and I had to work through the hard times. But you can't give up. You have to move forward. We're so much luckier since there's social media now. Things are so much easier. So take your journey one day at a time, one step at a time, one new element at a time. Give yourself grace to learn. No one knows how to be a professional home educator the first day they walk into it. It takes time. It takes giving yourself grace. You have to realize you don't have to have all the answers today. You give yourself grace to learn and to step into the role that you have chosen to step into. So how can we apply this? Now, this is one that will kind of step on toes. People don't like when I say this to them. Dress professionally. You can wear your pajamas at home. It's okay. But when you step out of the house, you are not going to your favorite supermarket chain. Don't wear your pajamas. Don't wear your slumpy clothes. Dress professionally. Dress your children professionally. Even if you only have one going out of the house outfit, look well. Community judges us by their first impressions. When you're going on a field trip, they are judging when they look at you, they're not going to say, "Oh, that's just a mom, she's having a bad day." Some of them will, but they're going to judge the whole homeschool community as a whole. So dress professionally, act professionally, arrive on time. If there's a problem and you're going to have to cancel, give them notice. Don't leave your homeschool leaders in a lurch. Y'all have no idea how bad it can get for them. Give them heads up that you're not coming and plans have changed. That's okay. We all understand things happen, but let people know. Even if it's something as simple as a free park day, let them know. Have courtesy. Let's see. So that's that section. I know that's a hard one. Okay. It gets a little bit more fun after that. Okay. So pour into yourself as a professional. When you look at secretaries and doctors and lawyers and teachers, they have professional development. It's in their budget. Teachers, people come in and they have professional development days so that the kids are actually out of school. Pour into yourself as a professional. Put career development into your budget. At least 10%. If your budget for the homeschool year is $1,000, take $100 to put toward professional development. Take at least 10%, more if you can afford it. Pour into yourself. What am I talking about? Career development. Podcasts are free. Homeschool podcasts. Reading good books. Many times the libraries will call them in for free. I do this often. I go on the website at my library. I fill out a request form. I have only had them deny me like once or twice in 10 years. Very, very rare. And there are things that they can have interlibrary loans where they can bring books in. So you don't always have to spend your budget on books. There are times I buy them because they're so good and I want to keep them on my shelf. Go to the homeschool conferences. Schedule that in. Go on a retreat. Do not feel guilty over pouring into your professional budget. You need to conduct yourself as a professional. Take the mental health break. Mental health break means you hire a babysitter and you go and meet another homeschool mama friend for coffee. This is an acceptable thing. Do not feel guilty and do not let other people make you feel guilty for taking that time. Because if you are putting seed into your homeschool journey, then you're going to be able to give out. You are the teacher and you are worth that budget. Find a mentor. Find somebody 10, 15, 20 years homeschooler, a veteran. Take them to coffee. Hire the babysitter. Have them speak into your life. Go wherever they need you to go so that you can spend time with them. Buy them lunch. Whatever you need to do. They have walked this journey and had successes and had failures, and they are usually very, very happy to pour into you. If you are having a problem, hire a consultant. They are excellent resources. There are special needs consultants. There are high school consultants. There are just getting started consultants. What you need, find someone to pour into your life. They are worth the money and for you to schedule it into your budget. Build a homeschool tribe. I cannot stress this enough. So often mamas are so worried over their children having friends and they've forgotten themselves. You need people to walk this journey with you. And I'm almost 99.9% sure that it is more important for you to build friendships than it is for your children. Not that they don't need friends, but do not neglect yourself. Don't skimp on the tools of the trade. If you're needing a microscope, get the best you can afford. If you are needing other supplies, do not skimp. Used is not always best. Now, I'm not telling anybody to blow the budget and put yourself in debt. I'm saying do the best you can with what you've got. Fund your journey. Make sure that you are putting yourself into the budget. So those are how I believe are the best ways to apply this to daily life. Put your clothing into the budget, mamas. Dress professionally, act professionally, communicate with your leaders when you're not going to go somewhere. Because honestly, as a homeschool leader, museums are not happy when people don't show up. Leaders get in trouble and they get burnt out, and they're treasure too. They are important things for you to have. Don't skip on the tools. If you need a microscope, buy a good microscope. I'm not saying that you have to go in debt, but do not feel guilty for these things. So, as we're wrapping up, I want you to remember how essential you are to your homeschool journey. You are essential, you are important, you're called, and I am very honored to have spoke with you today, and I hope you found something useful from this. And if I can ever do anything for you, please don't ever hesitate to let me know, because you're important and you're loved by your God. And have a wonderful day.